You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up today. You can't make it up tomorrow. But today we're going to talk about the shit you can't make up. Hey, we're at a remote location today. I have my intern, Kellen Clark. Amazing what you can accomplish with a little bit of talent around you. John, our director, has brought our game way up. We get better every day. So you can make that shit up, but you can't make this up. So we're going to talk about immigration today. And immigration in Florida is a huge topic. But the conversation is, you don't want us here.
Yes. So we're talking about Senate Bill 1718, which puts penalties, it puts restrictions on corporate entities that employ more than 25 or more undocumented immigrants. It essentially just puts penalties. And some are estimating that this could cost the Florida economy $12.6 billion. And a lot of it has affected families. A lot of people are moving out because they're concerned. Like, a lot of undocumented immigrants are now concerned that they can no longer live here with any sense of security.
Well, if you're not here legally, you don't have much to go on. There's a thing that people should realize. There's visas for this.
Yes.
These people that we're talking about have overstayed their visas. These companies that are trying to keep these employees just don't want to work with the send them back and renew that visa. This is incredibly complicated. But what I think you should be looking at when you look at these policies is the fact that we are a border state. People forget that. And that we have given the governor the right to ship illegal aliens to other processing points.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, why put all the burden on ours when you have states that aren't border states? We have states that say they'll take anybody. Mm-hmm. So they want to take anybody. So let them take anybody. But when we send them there, they complain because they don't want to handle the cases.
No, it certainly gets messy very, very fast. And like as you said, we are a border state. Like this, no matter how hard we tighten down the border, no matter how tall we build a wall or anything else, we will always have problems. Like going back, like the Clinton administration, for example, one of the first administrations that really locked down the border, they said, "Aha, people are not going to get in anymore. We got this." Well, what happened was a lot of people who would come in to work a little bit, because of the US dollar being more valuable, it was quite common practice for them to come in, work, and then right back over the border. Like if they had families, for example, and people still try to do this, but for a lot of people, it's just harder than it used to be. So we have is a higher population of living living long-term in America, kind of undocumented immigrants. And there's also the idea of kind of the melting pot, like mostly they take up jobs that most people in America don't want to work to begin with. So you also got to look at how it benefits us, not
you could stop. You could stop right there because listen, there have been the almond industry tried to pay top dollar to get U.S. citizens to work in the almond fields, and they wouldn't do it. But that's why we have visas that allow these immigrants to come in and work these jobs. We have a system, but we're not utilizing that system. And I like how you talk about, administrations that lock down borders. So in when George Herbert Walker Bush was running for
Yes.
reelection, there was Ross Perot in the race, and there was
Clinton.
Clinton in the race. Ross Perot drops out of the race, comes back in the race, but his main focus was he didn't want Bush to win.
Yes.
Clinton offers a hope to the Cuban people.
Mhm.
This hope is written about in my book, Bringing America Together Again, because I was stationed in Panama. And when Clinton saw what was about to happen, he became president of the United States, and every single Cuban decides to get on a little raft to try to get over to Florida.
Mhm.
We also had a policy called, wet foot, dry foot. So if a Cuban actually hit, our land, they were automatically authorized a green card. They were automatically, front loaded. But
Yeah.
if you had a Haitian that came in, it was a whole different ballgame for the
Mhm.
Haitians. Immigration policy back then sent all these Cubans to Panama, where we had them in cages,
Mhm.
and they rioted, and several of them died. And then Panama finally said, enough is enough, and they went back home. But you give these people hope, and you give these people the opportunity to come into this country. Let's make it legal. Let's try to put a policy in place that works for the people. And I think what we're doing here is not that we're not welcoming, we're just holding people accountable to the law. Look, the legal way to come in is to have the company ask for the visa, get the certain amount of visas they need, get the employees that they need.
Mhm.
Okay, spend that little extra money to
Yeah.
be legal. We are an agriculture state. People will not believe that 90% of the time, but
But
we are
we
an
are.
agriculture state. We always fighting with, we're always fighting with our sugar industry, but we have the the strawberry industry. We've lost most of our orange industry.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough,
we
honestly.
we because of illness of the trees, but
Yeah.
we need to know that we're an agriculture
Yeah.
state, and that we have those provisions for immigrants to come here. We're not saying that we're cracking down any more than holding the companies accountable, especially big companies. Mom and pop companies, that's why it's 25. Like mom and
Yes.
pop companies that are trying to, just grow, enough to get by. I mean, smaller farms. Those are the farms we're trying to help, because if you've been here for any length of time, you've seen all the horse farms being built into
Yes.
houses. You've seen the dairy farms disappear.
Yes.
You've seen the grazing disappear. That's because development needs to be. We have so many people moving in the state that we
Yeah.
have to accommodate. So
And it is challenging to accommodate the cost of living here in Florida, like not just in like those areas like around farms, whatnot. It's going up everywhere, and certainly that's very strong. But there's also they're not the only immigrants are not the only source of this problem either, right? I mean, they're a part of it, of course. And but then there comes the question, we are an agriculture state. What if, because you're only allowed to hire up to 25, those larger farms, they can't really fill their positions? What
you
would
can only
happen
filter
then?
it. Now stop for a second. You can only fill 25 with undocumented.
Undocumented, yes, of
So
course.
you can only get up to
Yeah,
25
un-
illegal.
illegal, yes, and you
So
can,
you're actually incentivized to be able to have
yes.
illegal. It's just like saying, hey, the you get benefits after 32 hours. And
Mhm.
that says, okay, now you have medical benefits, you have benefits from your company if you work 32 hours or more. You've now changed what full time is. And guess what? people lose out because they have less money, because now the company says, hey, if I have to give benefits to part-time employees that hit 32 hours,
Mhm.
they're focused on making sure you're out there in 31.5 hours. It's
Yes.
the same thing. You've just incentivized people to reduce their staff, their illegal staff, but you haven't
Yes.
eliminated their illegal staff.
Yeah, yeah, they're you haven't eliminated it in total, and of course, like, as many legals as they want, and and of course, that should logically incentivize, filling in illegal immigrants or people who wanna work here to get documentation. The question is whether or not that'll happen in practice, because sometimes the things like the incentives, what they should incentivize, people just don't do it anyways, and they go to a different state with more lenient rules.
So are you saying, so as a public relations and as an advertising and public relations intern here
Yes.
with Jay in Washington and a student at University of Central Florida, UCF, do you think that this is a pro or a con uh, in the public opinion? I mean, this public opinion
Hmm.
for conservatives, it's finally about time that we did something.
I,
With liberals, it's always, you're
yeah.
punishing people for things they couldn't control. Where do you stand if you know that there's a system in place that all they have to do is follow the rules, and then you have this concept where you don't
Yeah.
have to follow the rules?
So with public opinion, immigration has been a problem in this country for a long time, and a lot of people has had it on the top of their priority list. And Florida, I think, has become a far redder state than it used to be. I think overall, there's going to be more people in favor of this than there will be against it. Um, and you're obviously there is a system. The concern is that a lot of most of the people we get, they're just manual workers. Chances are they were dirt poor where they came from. Chances are maybe they don't even know what they're doing. Then that's another concern. Like, will they actually get it together? That's the other
That's why
concern.
it's the incentive of the company
Yes, it
to
should.
make sure that they're taking
Yes.
care of the visas. Like, I'm people, I don't think realize this,
Mhm.
Kellen. The onus is on the company. It's not on the individual because they have, you know, less means. It's not like in Florida,
Mhm.
you can boat over here across the, come from Texas across the
Yeah.
Gulf of Mexico
Yeah.
and then go back home. I mean, it's not like you're going across
Not
the Rio Grande.
not in Florida, you ain't.
But so that means the company now has to make sure that they provide housing or incentives like that. Well, guess what? We already have a problem with people being able to afford housing here. So
True.
these immigrants, especially, can't afford a place. So they're living in little shacks on these properties. I mean, there's got to be the onus is on the company. The companies a
Yes.
lobby to try to make sure that they can keep these illegals. We've had people try to say, "Hey, we need verify. We need verify," and then you have these companies, the sugar industry, the strawberry industry, all these agriculture industries saying, "Whoa, if you do that, it's going to cost us $12 billion, and because we can't afford this."
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, it's simply I think the policy is good for the state and it should enforce, if we're going to have inflation anyways, it should
Yeah.
enforce the inflation to come from people doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. That's my word.
So in your mind, any cost, so not any cost, but this cost is worth it to you then.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe that this is not a
Yeah.
tax. This is an increase on productivity, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll have more product in the store. that will that will reduce the cost because more product in the store, that means the demand will be less. Everything works in a
Yeah.
specific way, and when you take shortcuts, it breaks the system. You can't make this shit up. You need them. and you don't want them, you got to make a decision because you can't
Mhm.
make this shit up.
No, you cannot. And like every incentive does fall into place because it would that would be ideal, and a lot of it will fall on a lot of that we'll also have to see whether or not they'll just go to other states. That's another thing that will be interesting to see.
Hit that like button. This has been a great opportunity to talk to you. Share with your friends. Let us be your entertainment and give us your ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.